if you can hear me. I have my mic plugged in, so everything should be okay. But if it cuts out for any reason, let me know. So, today I want to do a part two to my video I did earlier this week, my live stream from before on spring cleaning for your mind and for your body. This is a part two. So, if you didn't see part one, definitely go and check it out. It's on my channel. I'm going to put my channel on the chat in TikTok, but this is part two. So, if you remember from my spring cleaning your mind and body video, the first one, we talked about clearing clutter and how that's super good for your mind, just clearing out the clutter in general and how that can help you mentally, emotionally. And today I want to talk about mind and body and relate it back to spring cleaning. So that's what we're talking about today. And one second, I'm live on TikTok and on YouTube right now. So that's cool. Haven't been live on TikTok in a minute, but thanks for joining today's live. Today is a part two to spring cleaning your mind and your body. I think the springtime is so metaphorical, like the time of year. It's kind of like out with the old, in with the new. It's bringing in a new season. And I feel that way on a like spiritual level as well. So that's why I wanted to talk about clearing out your physical space first. And now let's talk about your mind and your body. That's what we're going to talk about next. So let me know if you could hear me, if you could see me on YouTube, on TikTok. Okay. If you don't know me, my name is Renee. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome to my TikTok page. I'm a health and life coach. I'm into fitness, into wellness. You could see all kinds of videos on my channel relating back to that. And I like to talk about personal development topics. It relates a lot to my work. It's of personal interest to me. And yeah, that's just what I enjoy. So, welcome in. And the first thing I want to say when it comes to spring cleaning your mind and your body is okay, so say you've watched that first video, you've cleaned out your physical space, um, or at least you've started clearing little parts of your home out. You are starting on the physical side of clearing things up, right? What's next? After we clean up our physical space, after we clear the clutter in a physical way, do you notice the benefits? Do you notice any kind of mental clarity? Do you notice anything different after you clean your spaces? Because I definitely do. I'm not somebody that enjoys cleaning, like I said in my live stream from earlier this week, but I definitely notice the positive effects after I do that. So I want to talk about now what happens after you've taken care of the physical side, right? After you've cleaned out your space, you've cleaned out your environment. Maybe you've changed your environment and that's helped you because that could be a way of clearing the clutter. Hey, thanks for joining today's live stream. Today we're talking about spring cleaning your mind and body. Welcome to my page. I'm a health and life coach. So, after you've taken care of your physical environment, right? After you've cleared out your space, you've cleared out the clutter. I talked about the benefits of doing that in my first live stream on this topic. And I want to shift into talking about connecting your mind and your body because that is definitely relating back to spring cleaning your mind and body when you connect both of them. So, connecting your mind and body is really important because a lot of us don't realize how disembodied we are on a day-to-day basis. It's actually really, really easy to fall out of touch with your bodies. Haven't seen you here in ages, missed you. Hey, thank you so much for joining my live. I know I stopped for a while. Don't give up on TikTok lives. We need your wisdom. Oh, I appreciate it so much. Thank you. You know what? I started live streaming again slowly, but more on my YouTube channel and TikTok. Sometimes I think the comments are just hit a little bit different. So, but I'm getting back to it. I really appreciate that. Thank you. I do live stream sometimes on my YouTube channel though, even when I'm not here on TikTok. So, thanks for joining. But today we're talking about spring cleaning your mind and your body. I did the first part of this live stream on my channel. Definitely go and check that out. I'm sorry, the way I set this up, I can barely see my YouTube comments. One second. Jesus loves you. Hope you have a nice day. Thank you. Have a great day too. Okay, now I can see everything, so it should be fine. But yeah, a health coach. Oh, I just read something. Hold on one second. Yeah. So this is part two to a live stream that I did earlier this week on spring cleaning. And I started off with talking about the benefits of clearing your physical space. Thanks for the likes on the live. I appreciate it. If you're watching this on YouTube, leave me a like too. It helps the live stream get spread and the message get spread to more people. But the first part of this live stream was talking about the benefits of clearing your physical environment, clearing the clutter from your physical environment. When I was first training for life coaching, they made it a point to train me on that fact. Like before a person even sets out to accomplish their goals, have them clear out their space, have them clear out their home, anything that needs to be cleaned up physically, have them do that first because your environment carries a lot of energy. Objects carry a lot of energy. It takes up space physically, obviously, right? But also mentally, emotionally. That's why hoarding is a thing, right? Because things carry energy. Sometimes we hold on to things and there's no practical use for them, but we're just storing it in our house and it impedes on our physical space. And I think that a lot of times when you start to throw things away, when you start to clear up your home, you start to also clear up your energy. So I feel like that ties back to spring because of this whole theme of like spring cleaning. So that's why I started off with talking about that. And now I want to talk about spring cleaning for your mind and body. Yes, you can ask a question, of course. Spring cleaning, mind, and body. I want to talk about connecting your mind and body. And this seems like a really simple idea, a very simple thing. But a lot of us go through life very disembodied. And what I mean by that is that we are completely out of touch with our body, with our mind. Our mind can be projecting into the past, right? We could be thinking about things that have already happened, past events, maybe a comment somebody said to us. Our mind is in the past, reminiscing, nostalgia, right? Or it's in the future. If you have a more kind of like anxious style personality, your mind is basically constantly projecting into the future. That's also a thing. And what that does is it disconnects your mind and your body. Okay. Hi, I'm watching from Dubai. Hey, Dubai. Thanks for joining. I'm new. I subbed. Thank you. Thanks for joining on YouTube. Do you have any tips on how to speak calmly like you? Oh, thanks. I'm not. Actually, I get told that I speak too fast a lot, so it makes me like more conscious to like speak slower because my brain is really fast. So sometimes I talk really fast, especially when I'm on live stream because I'm thinking in real time. So I've made it an effort to slow down. But I would say if you yourself are calm, then you're going to speak calmly. And then if you are anxious, you're going to speak more fast, right? The same thing, it's like if you're depressed, sometimes you don't even speak at all. You're just silent. So your real mood, it affects how you speak. Like there's a lot of your voice gives away a lot about how you're feeling, what you're thinking. You know what I mean? So I hope that answered your question. Yeah, so spring cleaning your mind and body. We're going to talk about, so what do you do to stay calm on the inside? Oh, a lot of things. That's why I have this channel. That's why I talk about all of these personal development themes. But I would say number one, I really love working out. I feel like working out is a big way that I get out a lot of my energy. So I always start my day with a workout, and I always had the habit of working out. So I feel like that's always been a thing in my life. I would say that's probably one of the main ways. Like I start my day off with a really some semi-intense workout. I'm not gonna lie, like I like to work out a lot. Where I kind of sometimes struggle is my nutrition and like, trying to eat clean a lot of the time or most of the time. But working out, is something that I really love to do no matter what. Even beyond like for aesthetics, I like working out because it's how I take out my energy. And also like I do a lot of things, like I have a lot of activities that I do. So I feel like that helps me stay calm too, because it gives my energy a place to go. Like if you give your energy somewhere to go, that can help you to stay calm because it's not all like bundled up needing an outlet. Like I give myself a lot of outlets. I give myself fitness as an outlet. I give myself these live streams as an outlet. I spend a lot of like I do a lot of things. I do a lot of things. Creativity is, one of those ways you get your energy out. That's why it's important that women keep creating things. Women are naturally creative. I made a video on my channel talking about what happens when a woman stops creating. You should definitely go and watch that if you haven't yet. But we're talking about spring cleaning for your mind and your body. Leave any comments in the chat, any questions in the chat, health related, wellness related, lifestyle related, anything like that. The topic for today is spring cleaning for your mind and for your body. We're going to talk about how to declutter our energy, declutter our mind, declutter anything that's coming up so that we can make space for new things, because it's the same thing as the season that we're in. We're in spring. Spring is bringing in a new season. It's bringing in summer, right? Summer is basically like the peak. Like summer is probably like, for a lot of us, the highest energy point of the year, if you like summer. Um, I have mixed feelings about summer myself because I don't like being hot, but you could say that summer is when we have like the most activities, there's the most going on, right? Spring is like that in between point. We're coming out of winter, we're in this middle point before that happens. So it's a good time to get clear, especially on where you want the rest of your year to go. Anytime the seasons change, that's a good time to get clear on what you want your next season to look like. It doesn't have to be a literal season like summer, winter, fall. It could be a season of life, right? If one season of your life is ending, you can think about what you want to come for the next season. I talk a lot about seasons of life on my YouTube channel too. A lot of women go through the breakup season. Okay. We all know what that's like. Okay, to go through a breakup season. What do you do when you have a breakup? Obviously, you're going to be upset. You're going to process your emotions and stuff. But naturally, you start to think about what your life is going to look like after the breakup. What are you going to do now? Right? Like you're thinking about that next season. Perfect time for that right now that we're in spring, to think about what you want your next seasons this year to look like, whether it's literally the season, if you want how you want your summer to look, how you want your fall to look, your winter this year to look, your future vacations, whatever your goals are, your fitness goals to look. Spring is a perfect time to do that. Okay. So that's what we're talking about today. A lot of us go through life disembodied, meaning our mind and our body are very, very separate. And this is so easy to fall into. A lot of us do it. I do it. It takes a conscious choice, a conscious awareness every single day to reconnect your mind and your body again. And that's why I want to talk about it. It's very important. One way that you can tell your mind and your body are not connected anymore is through your breathing. So notice your moods, right? Sometimes you just have to become aware you're not even sure what's happening. Notice your moods. When you're anxious, what happens to your breathing? Naturally, you start to breathe faster, right? Your breathing becomes kind of like irregular, and it starts to pick up. That's like anxious breathing. When you're very sad, what happens to your breathing? It slows down, right? If you're crying and you're sad, maybe it picks up. Like your breath says a lot about your mental state. So, in the same way that your breathing is affected by your moods, you can control your breathing in order to impact your mood. I'm not sure if I said that clearly enough, but when you are in a good mood, right? When you're excited, your heart will start beating. You'll start to breathe faster. You start laughing, right? Your breathing changes. When you're sad, if you are like depressed, what do? You lay down, you're in bed. Your breathing is very, very slow, almost like you are sleeping, right? Because it's slowing down. When you're angry, what happens to your breathing? Maybe you have shortness of breath because you want to curse somebody out. Your breathing naturally changes with your moods. So if that's true, the reverse is true too, meaning you can consciously change how you're breathing to impact your mood in a positive way. So if you are anxious, right, you notice your breathing is picking up, you can consciously slow down your breathing, take deep breaths. I'm pretty sure that's something that they say in anger management as well, right? So like they teach people how to breathe. It seems like it's something really simple, but this makes a big difference. One of the breathing, and there's a ton of breathing techniques. I don't have like, you know, I think a lot of them are effective, but I'll share with you guys the one that I learned that I use the most in my life, which is basically you take a deep breath. So if you're ever anxious, if you ever just want to come back into the present moment, you want to reconnect with your breathing so that you can combine your mind and your body again and just become regulated, like calm down or like just feel stable, this is a breathing technique that can really help you. Or even you can start your day this way just to become more consciously aware of your breathing. So, sorry, I'm getting over a cold. But the breathing technique is basically you sit down somewhere that you feel comfortable, maybe in your room, somewhere where you have a few minutes to yourself uninterrupted, and you take a deep breath. You're going to visualize a little bit. You visualize your breath coming up your back when you're breathing in. So you breathe in. Imagine your breath going all the way up your back. You're going to hold it at the top of your head. There's not like a timer. You just hold it. When you breathe out, you're going to visualize your breath coming back down, all the way down the front of your body. You have to visualize it in your mind as you're breathing. And you do that a few times. So you breathe in, up your back, you hold it, and you breathe down. And you're just have a picture in your mind of what that breath looks like. Assign a color to it even. When I think of this, the color of the breath is like yellow, gold. Some people prefer like blue, but just even it can look like a cartoon in your mind, whatever visualization works for you. This is a really, really powerful and strong breathing technique that can help you calm down and connect your mind and your body. Breathing is one of the strongest ways that we can connect our mind and our body again, okay? Don't underestimate it. It doesn't matter how, how commonly people say it. Sometimes when we hear things so many times, it loses its meaning, right? Like it doesn't register anymore because we've heard it so much. We become desensitized, but it doesn't make those things any less true, okay? Like breathing is like the gateway to connecting your mind and your body. Even if you just do it for a few seconds, like if you just do that breathing technique once or twice, that helps you significantly. There's another breathing technique that is from the Heart Math Institute or something that I've heard cited over and over again, which is basically you visualize breathing from your heart or something. I'm gonna have to like double check, but I'm pretty sure like you visualize your heart and your head right here, and you visualize your breath when you breathe in, connecting from your heart to your mind. And when you breathe out, it goes back. And even a few times doing that visualization and that breathing technique regulates people. It calms people's nervous system down. That's basically what you're doing. And a calm nervous system is a strong nervous system. They say the strongest person in the room is the person with like the most calm nervous system, because calm people are in control. Like they're in control of themselves, which is all that you really have the ability to do anyway, right? So a lot of us go through life disembodied. We have to learn to do conscious things to connect our mind and our body again, because everything in society pretty much is working against that. So you kind of have to bring awareness again to this part of your life, because social media basically triggers your nervous system. It brings you up, it brings you down. I was talking to someone the other day, and I didn't realize that some people are not aware of why social media is so harmful to your mental health. Like, I was talking to them, and they were basically saying that they don't have a problem with social media. They can put their phone away whenever they want, which is valid. I'm sure that's true for them. But I could tell, like, they don't understand how social media negatively impacts them. And if you're not aware of what it does to you, then you can't really say that you're combating it or doing anything to protect yourself from it, right? So social media and other things, but social media is a really good example, um, can really play with your psychology a lot, okay? And it's designed that way. And we already have enough coming at us on a daily basis, right? We already struggle enough. Life is already hard enough as it is, okay? And then you add in these things like social media that are altering your mind. They're altering your mind, which in turn alters your body. It alters the way that you perceive things. And the way that you perceive things is literally like your life. Like your life is made up of how you perceive things. How you view the world is like 90% of your life experience. So definitely like try to find out about how social media plays with you psychologically. That's a good way to clear up your mind. Speaking of the topic of spring cleaning your mind and body, sometimes you just have to become aware of the things that are playing with your mind in the background, sometimes on a daily basis. Social media is such a big part of our lives now. You have to also know the way that it might negatively be affecting you. If you have Netflix, there's a documentary called The Social Network that does a pretty good job of telling you how social media has an effect on your mind, on your body. Okay. So, a lot of us go through life disembodied. We have to create these conscious ways to connect our mind and our body again. Breathing is definitely number one. That's probably my number one suggestion. But we want to close that gap between how separate our mind and our body is. If your mind is too far in the past, like if you're being overly nostalgic, always thinking about past events. I just made a video on my TikTok about how nostalgia is a liar, and somebody commented that nostalgia is a form of escaping the moment, right? So sometimes our mind is too far back. Sometimes our mind is too far ahead of us. It's too much in the future. Either way, our mind and our body is completely separate because your mind and your body are only together when you can be completely in the moment that is happening right now, that you can be living in the moment right now. That's when your mind and your body are together. Obviously, sometimes we have to just think about things, but for the most part, the present moment is how you can bring your conscious awareness back to connecting your mind and your body. I hope that makes sense. It has to be a conscious choice to bring them back together again, to bring your mind and your body back together again. Hey, thanks for joining my live stream on YouTube. Leave a like if you enjoy this live. I'm not sure if I put the topic in the title, but we're talking about spring cleaning for your mind and your body. If you're new here, I'm a health and life coach. My name is Renee. Definitely subscribe to my page. Okay. So I'm giving you guys 3 ways to clear your mind and your body this spring. Number 1 way of connecting your mind and your body is through your breathing. Okay. I gave you guys probably my favorite breathing techniques, but even if you don't want to do those, if you're not there yet, just starting to become aware of your breathing on a daily basis, especially when you're stressed, and trying to slow it down is highly, highly effective. Okay. Sometimes awareness is the first step. Okay. So, number 2 way that you can clear your mind and body this spring, that you can clean your mind and body this spring, whatever you prefer to say, is to get rid of confusion. And I could make a whole video on this topic. Thank you. Thanks on YouTube. Thanks on TikTok. leave a like on the live stream if you're enjoying today's video. Number two way that we can clear our mind and body this spring is by getting rid of confusion. So sorry, I probably just messed with the audio. Let me know if you could hear me on YouTube, by the way, but I cannot tell you where in your life you might be feeling confused, okay? I can only make a suggestion. You're going to have to identify where in your life you need clarity, because confusion is very draining when you're in a state of confusion, and it's a way that your energy gets zapped out of your life, zapped out of your mind and your body when you are in a state of confusion. Sometimes confusion is put onto us from other people, right? Maybe we are confused by a person's actions. We have confusion just externally. But sometimes we can also experience confusion from an internal place, from ourselves, because we don't have clarity in our life over something. Okay, so we can get confusion on all sides. We can get confusion from the external, from other people, and we can also become confused on behalf of ourselves because we're lacking clarity in a certain area. And this is where you again have to bring some awareness into your life, because what happens with confusion specifically is like sometimes you want to avoid thinking about something or addressing something in your life because you know that it's going to take energy and time to sort through. It's going to take your attention, right? Like attention is also a form of energy. And we think that by avoiding things in our life, we will have an easier time. But what happens when we avoid, especially major things in our life that we don't have clarity about, if we continue to avoid it, it's going to drain your energy, because in the back of your mind, you're going to be thinking about all of these things you have to do. And it's all like just in the air, like nothing is concrete, nothing is pinpointed, like I have to work on this, I have to do that. Like it's all kind of just around. So sometimes you need to get very specific and very clear on what it is that you need to do to get yourself out of a place of confusion in your life. So I'll give you guys an example. And if you're just joining this on YouTube, I'm giving you guys tip number 2 on how to clear your mind and body this spring. And it's to get rid of confusion. So let me tell you guys about a way that I get rid of confusion in my life. So in the event, okay, actually I wasn't going to say this, but it's coming up, so let me share. One of the areas of my life that I really needed to pay more attention to was my career, because I have just such a different career path from my peers. Like, I'm an artist, I'm a creative person, and I'm also an entrepreneur. So my career path kind of looks like this. It never has looked like progressive steps that make sense, like in a row. I kind of have to figure things out on my own a lot of the time, or literally find people in industries that I admire and basically emulate what it is that they do and then try to do it for myself. Like, I've had a really kind of sporadic career. So one of the things that I had to work on, aside from that component of my career looking different from a lot of people, was I had a really pivotal time in my life after um, basically a breakup, where I started to place more emphasis on work again, because for some time, I didn't have to worry about it. Okay. I'm just going to be completely honest. So I had to really, after that ended, basically, I had to get back into the workforce, like in a really serious way, like start to consider what I want my career to look like, not just right now, because that's easy. Taking care of things in the short term is typically easier than having a long term vision of what you want your career to look like, right? Like that was something for me that was really overwhelming. And I would just basically not think about it. And then I would do this thing where I would excuse myself by being like, oh, well, I'm a creative, I'm an artist, I don't have to do things that way. But it doesn't matter if it's true, but that doesn't mean that I don't have to take that same level of consideration and care for the longevity of my career. So that was one area of my life that I kind of like, I didn't want to look at it too much because it was overwhelming to me to think about that. And then it's like, oh, and then of course your career just brings up so many things because you have to do things to build your career. Maybe you got to go back to school, which I did end up going back to school and, doing trainings and, even just doing research on like what careers look like because I'm somebody who believes that your work environment really impacts your life because if you think about it, your workplace is where you spend a lot of your time. So it's probably a smart idea to make sure that you enjoy the work or you enjoy being in that environment. So for me, this was one of those things that I really had to think about for a long time and like explore like different opportunities and stuff. But once I started doing that, even though it was really hard and it was overwhelming to me to think about my career on that level, even though it was hard, I felt so much better than just ignoring it and not thinking about it and like basically avoiding it, like avoiding thinking about my career in the long term. That was more draining, even though I was having fun and like still continuing to live my life and whatever. Excuse me. That was more draining, avoiding that aspect of my life than literally doing all of these hard things in order to build my career up, right? Because what was happening was I was in a state of confusion. Okay, so sometimes we really have to pinpoint where it is in our life that we are lacking clarity. If you can even just identify that area, you can go and be on your way to creating some kind of vision for that area of your life. So for me, it was career. For some people, maybe it's your relationships. For some people, maybe it's your health and your fitness. Like maybe that's an area of your life that overwhelms you and you don't know where to start. But no matter what it is, no matter how overwhelming or how daunting it might feel right now, I promise you, getting started is going to give you relief more than avoiding it completely, okay? Because confusion drains your energy. Lack of clarity drains your energy. Confusion literally keeps your energy so stuck. And what's more draining than staying stuck in the same place for a long time? Okay, that for me is very draining. I like to keep things moving, okay? Like I don't want to be in the same position forever, like and sometimes you need to do that internal work of getting rid of that confusion and giving yourself the opportunity to gain clarity on that aspect of your life. Even if it's scary, even if it's overwhelming, even if it's daunting. I think a lot of people also probably need clarity when it comes to or have confusion around their spiritual beliefs. It's like if you don't have a concrete spiritual belief that you follow, you can kind of take something from here, take something from there, and it's confusing, right? Like, and it's one of those areas of your life, like your spiritual beliefs or your religion, that's such a big component of life that, yeah, it can be super overwhelming to like think about it, or you're just like, where do I start? Like some people really have that with health and fitness where they don't know where to start, like, or they feel like they're too far gone, like it's just like there's no point. That's a lie. That's a lie. Don't ever feel that way because that's absolutely a lie. Confusion is such an energy drainer. Give yourself the opportunity to get clear on what it is that you have to do, what it is that you have to change, okay? Getting rid of confusion is my number 2 tip on clearing your mind and your body this spring. What if there are self-doubts in the way and you procrastinate your way to not starting it? Okay. Yeah, procrastination basically is the same thing as feeling confused and feeling a lack of clarity. Okay, so I would say clarity is still the first step. Like you need to have a concrete goal, get clear on how to do it. Then, if you have self doubts in the way, this is what I'll say to that, and you can take it or leave it, right? Self doubt. I think that you know how people say, decenter men? Have you guys heard that? Like decentering men? Like it's like a social media trend. But I feel, and I heard this from my pastor also, like we gotta decenter emotions. Like, and I low key live that way. So if you're experiencing self doubt, like you have to decenter your emotions just for the sake of getting that thing done. Because emotions are up and down, they're constantly changing. Who's to say that's the truth? Like that could just be how you're feeling in that moment. Like in that moment, you're feeling self doubt. That doesn't mean that it's true. It doesn't mean that it's true. You have to override it by not making your emotions the center of your life. Like we really do have to stop being ruled by our emotions, ruled by our thoughts. Like, what's that? I posted this book in my story on TikTok the other day, forgot the name, but it's the author of The Untethered Soul. And he talks about how you are not your thoughts. So it's kind of like the same thing. Like you can choose into the thoughts that you're going to believe about yourself. Do you have some book recommendations in general? Um, I really like that book. I'd say I'd recommend that book. Can I type in the chat? Um, I can't. But it's called The Untethered Soul. I forgot the author. That's a really good one. The Power of Now is a really good one. I gifted that to my friend for her birthday. It's that good. And then if you're like into fiction and stuff, I feel like that's different because people have like different styles of books that they like. So I don't know if I have a suggestion for that, but I'm always going to say my number 1 book recommendation is the Bible. I'm always going to say that. It has the answer to everything, literally. But if I have any other books that I recommend, I normally post it in my stories, so it'll be on there. But those are the 2 that came off the top of my head. Of course, you're welcome. Okay, so number 1 tip to spring cleaning your mind and your body was connecting your mind and your body through primarily breathing, right? And conscious awareness behind that. I gave you guys 2 of my favorite breathing practices. Number 2, getting rid of confusion. Identifying where in your life you need clarity, because confusion is one of the number 1 ways that our energy gets drained. And I'll say this about if you're in a place or a scenario where there is a person keeping you in confusion, because that's kind of different, right? Like not having clarity in your life on the inside over something, that's one thing, it's coming from you. But what do you do if you're experiencing confusion on behalf of somebody else? Well, I'm glad you asked. I posted a story time on my TikTok about a situation I was in. And the thing is that, human beings are not perfect. We know that now. We know that by now, right? Okay, we know that. Okay. So what happens is that sometimes, unfortunately, I wish it wasn't true, but it is. People can sometimes, not all the time, benefit from keeping you in a place of confusion. And you got to set yourself free, girl. You got to set yourself free from that, okay? I'm going to say that again. Sometimes people benefit from keeping you confused. Like it's literally a thing. I did not know this until I went through 2024 was just I want to forget about that year, but I learned a lot. And one of the things I learned is that people can benefit from keeping you in a state of confusion. So this is what I'll say to that. You have the ability to take yourself away from certain people, take yourself out of that situation. And I didn't know that that was a thing where people keep you confused on purpose. Like that was just one of those like rude wake up calls that I had. And once I learned that, like that's why I feel education is so important, like psychology specifically, because once you learn the behind the scenes of like how people operate, in a perfect world, everybody would be kind and everyone would get along and they wouldn't do these trifling things to other people. But I feel like that's why education is so important because you can read, you learn to kind of read people. And yeah, people don't like that. So keep it to yourself if you get into that habit. But once you can pick up on the fact that somebody might be keeping you confused on purpose or benefiting from keeping you in a place of confusion, you can exit stage left. Okay. I gave a story time on my TikTok, which is probably so far down on my page by now. But let me tell you this, okay? Uh, so I want to share that on here. I feel like I'll get too sidetracked, but maybe I'll bring it up in another live. But I have some story times on my page. Yeah, you have the ability to take yourself out of those situations, and especially in the case that there is someone benefiting from keeping you confused. Like maybe you're in a relationship or you're dating someone and you're trying to get clarity on where the relationship is going, and you keep getting the like what's it called, like the you keep going back and forth. There's never really a clear answer. You have to be brave enough to decide clearly for yourself what it's going to be if there is no clarity. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you really do have to be that way to protect your time and your energy. Give yourself a timeline. Maybe try to discuss it with that person, but at the end of the day, if they're not giving you clarity, closure, sometimes you'll never get closure, by the way, another just fact of life. You have to take yourself out of that situation. You have to be the person that makes those very clear decisions and just really stick to it also, not flip flop. Okay. So, number one way that we're going to spring clean our mind and body this year is to connect our mind and body through breathing. Number two, getting rid of confusion. Okay. Getting our minds a little bit more clear. Obviously, I'm an advocate for journaling too. That's a really good way that you can clear your mind. I fell out of the habit and then I started it again. I don't do it every day, but I have picked it up again. And I forgot how much that really helps just get like so much clutter out of your mind journaling. So that's another thing you can do. If you don't know how to journal, I actually got that question a lot. How do you journal? One of my favorite things to do is do a stream of consciousness journaling, which is a concept from this book called The Artist's Way, which is like a creative workbook. And she basically calls it morning pages, where you write 3 pages of just whatever comes in your mind. So it's not really structured aside from the fact that you will write these 3 pages every day. And it's a creative exercise, but it also helps you clear your mind. And I love morning pages. I've done it for years. There was a time that I was doing it every single day. I don't do it every single day anymore, but I do still do it. And it is really, really helpful, especially when I was like first starting out in like personal development and like inner work and stuff. Journaling really helped me. So that's something else you can do to get rid of confusion, get clarity in your life. Journal. Okay. Number 3, my last tip for how we are going to do spring cleaning for our mind and our body this spring is to identify negative beliefs that are reoccurring. Okay, I'm going to use a really specific example that I think a lot of women can relate to, but everybody has their recurring negative beliefs. Like it could be any thought that is repetitive, that comes up over and over again, that is basically negative or self-defeating or belittling towards yourself, critical of yourself. I'm going to give the example of body and appearance because I feel like that's where women really beat themselves up, is over how they look. Again, set yourself free. Set yourself free from that trap, okay? Identifying negative beliefs that are reoccurring is another way that you can spring clean your mind and body. Your body and appearance is something that can take up a lot of mental space, right? When we're preoccupied with how we look. And I have so many videos on my channel about how to better your body image, how to better your self-esteem. So check out those resources. But here are some simple ways that you can minimize the mental chatter in your mind over how you look. Obviously, sometimes we want to make physical changes to ourselves that we think are going to make us feel better, especially in terms of your health and your fitness. I'm a strong advocate for that. There's nothing wrong with that. But when it comes to like beauty and stuff, here are some things that you can do to minimize that mental chatter that might be taking up a lot of space in your mind over how you look. 1 second. Also, I want to share, this is the tea I'm drinking. Oh, you can't even see the name, but it's dandelion root tea. Dandelion something. Dandelion root tea, I'm pretty sure. And it's detoxifying. So if you're looking for a new tea, it does taste like dirt, but you get used to it. So it starts to taste better. Okay. But this is really good for you. Dandelion root tea. Look it up. I love that tea. Okay. Identifying negative beliefs that are recurring. Your body and your appearance is something that takes up a lot of your mind, right? A lot of your energy, because we get preoccupied with the way that we look. And it's pushed on us, low key. Like it's pushed on us to be really self-critical over how we look. Me personally, I stopped caring. I really, like, compared to how I used to be, like I used to be really, 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 really preoccupied with how I look. Okay. I was obsessed. You could say I was obsessed specifically with like fitness and like my body because of past experiences, obviously. Also, with the time I spent in modeling, comments made to me by other people, being on camera a lot, and also being in the fitness industry, it just basically gave me this idea from very young to be very on top of how I look. If you're somebody whose career spends a lot of time on camera, you probably understand that. And it can really, really tip over and become something unhealthy if you're not careful, right? So that's how it manifested for me. And I gave myself permission to just chill the fuck out, basically. I can make a whole video on that and how I conditioned my brain from being that way. Um, it's awesome. That's all I'm gonna say. But if you're somebody who gets really preoccupied with the way you look and that's something that drains your energy, here are some 3 quick things that you can do to streamline your beauty routine so that this doesn't happen anymore and you can use your mental energy to think about other things, right? Other things that might need attention, other important things like your purpose, like your career, like what you want to eat for lunch. Like so many things are more important than how you look, okay? But here are some ways to decrease that mental chatter. 1, streamline your beauty routine. I was actually going to bring the products that I use every day, but I forgot. But what I mean by streamline your beauty routine or your grooming routine if you're a guy, but like just have like a very simple routine of what you do for your look to maintain your look every day. So right now, like I have my hair done, but for months, I just got this, okay? For months, I did not do my hair and I had a very simple routine. And Obviously, I like to do my hair, I like to do my makeup, like, obviously, but sometimes other things take priority, like, life gets in the way. And in those moments, we streamline our beauty routine. This is what mine looked like, okay? A slick back. Okay, I love how that's become a trend because it's the easiest thing in the world to just put your hair back. I like how, it's kind of like a trend right now because that's what I had for months, okay? So I would slick my hair back. I would put in some kind of hair mask, slick my hair back. I would fill in my eyebrows, do liner, and put on a lip. And that was my beauty routine. And because I do the same thing every day, it's never really a question of what I was going to do that day. And I didn't have so much thoughts in my mind over how I looked because that's how I look every day. Like, that's basically what I was doing every day. Obviously, you can change it up anytime you want, but it helped me decrease my mental chatter over how I look when I streamlined my routine in that way. Let me know if that makes sense. But that's personally what I do. You have to find what you can do right now on a daily basis to maintain your appearance. And I call that streamlining your beauty routine. I'm going to make a separate video on that as well. Okay? So, just to recap, if you missed, thank you. Thanks for saying that. If you missed the beginning of this live stream on YouTube or on TikTok, it's going to be posted on my channel. I gave you guys 3 ways that you can incorporate spring cleaning for your mind and your body. Number 1, through connecting your mind and body. There's tons of ways that you can do that. Breathing is definitely number 1 because a lot of us go through our lives disembodied, and that's number 1, connecting your mind and your body again. And it can become disconnected for several reasons. I could make a separate video on this, and I probably will. Number 2, getting rid of confusion, getting rid of those running lists in your mind of all of the things that you have to do. Just start by doing one, okay? Because confusion is a large way that we get our energy drained, and you have to be intentional about clearing your mind and taking yourself out of that state, especially if you want to create room for new things to manifest in your life. Number 3, identifying negative beliefs that are recurring. And I use the example of body and appearance because a lot of us become very self-critical over the way that we look. And I think a really positive, strong way you can combat that is by streamlining your beauty routine so that it's not a question every day of what are you going to do, how are you going to look. Like, what your routine is. You can do it every single day. All right. Leave me a like if you enjoyed this live on TikTok, on YouTube. The whole live stream will be posted on my channel shortly. I have all of my relevant links on my page, my services. You could always find it on there. Okay? I'm gonna let you guys go. Have a great day. Spring cleaning for your mind, for your body. Spring clean your environment. Don't wait. Do it now. Do it today. Today. All right? Bye. I'll be back. Bye, YouTube.